Okay, great. Okay, let's start. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining today our session. So today our session will talk about accelerating business delivery with AI and DevOps. Um, so So our agenda today, first I will start by give you a quick overview about myself, and then we will get understanding about how AI and DevOps better together, how they are working better together. And then we will jump to give you an overview about our use case. Actually, I'm not an AI engineer. I'm a principal and cloud DevOps engineer. But I will, again, telling you from my practitioner experience about how using AI in my day-to-day job and work for effectively working and increasing the productivity and the reliability of our work. And then this is why we will take an overview about our use case, which is actual use case, and how we effectively employ the AI with that. And then after that, we will talk about some principles and concept about, for example, eliminating the bottlenecks and how we talk about increasing productivity and reliability. Then after that, we will see 6 demos, because most of our session today is all about demos and how we incorporate AI and DevOps together. Okay. This is a quick overview about the demo. The first demo will talk about PowerShell, Markdown, and Azure DevOps. The second demo will talk about effective development with database and SQL business intelligence. Third demo will talk about release pipeline with YAML and Azure DevOps. The fourth demo will talk about team collaboration and effective meeting. And the fifth one will talk about effective education and training with Office 365 and Microsoft Teams, building quiz. And the last one will be effective education, which is managing, attending training and courses and so on. Okay, so for you, this is a very quick overview about myself for people that they don't know me. My name is Mohamed Radwan. I'm a principal DevOps consultant. I have been doing software now for more than 20 years. I started back in 2002 as a classic ACP developer, and then moved from different role and position. I relocated in several countries. Eventually, I am here in the UK for the last 9 years. I worked for the last 15 years as a principal consultant. I helped more than 60 enterprise customers around the globe to implement and improve their software delivery and practices. I also heavily participated in the community. This is why I'm a Microsoft MVP for the last 13 years. I like to share my experience. I have a YouTube with hundreds of videos. I spoke in several conferences around the globe. Yes, that's it about me. And you can follow me on GitHub or YouTube. You will find many of my contribution, which is published on Azure DevOps Marketplace and many open source libraries. Okay, enough about me, and let's move. Okay, better together. Again, my idea how we can, employ we all see how AI is now is booming, and is try to bring and effectively work and help every business and each business to work better and faster with more effective. So this is, we believe that AI or generative AI and DevOps can really working better together. And again, all our session is how to combine the two concepts. Again, I'm not talking about from an AI engineer, but from perspective of a day-to-day with a DevOps or a developer or a cloud engineer, or even, for your collaboration with meetings and all of that. So I will show you a real use cases where we can get leverage of the potential and the capabilities of the AI with your work, which is boost your capabilities and productivity. Okay, so our use case, we're talking about the mentor program. This is the use case that you will see all the demo, which is related, which is, so our community is a community we call the mentor program. And this is community has many members around the globe. We have around 100 members from 20 countries. And this community has we attending sessions, we organizing events, public events, internal events, soft skills, technical skills. Some people is mentor, some people is mentee, some people attending different courses and training. And what you are going to see is how we effectively developed and manage all this community using the AI and DevOps. Okay, so but first, let's talk about some of the mindset and the ideas about, the best practices, how we think about the DevOps and how we employ that. So usually when we're talking about DevOps, it's all about, removing the barriers, making more effective, fasting the delivery. Everyone would like to have the best value quickly, Agile and DevOps is I usually say it is a two-face to the same coin. And now the AI come to add another dimension to this relationship. So here, the main idea is that we would like to eliminate the bottleneck so we can, enhance our delivery. So, and this is usually happen by when we go about any process or any organization, we start looking at, okay, where is the constraint? Where is the delay? Again, we start looking at all the workflow for all the organization. This is why usually I like the idea that some people think about DevOps is just the CI/CD, but DevOps is more wide than just a CI and CD. So when we're talking about DevOps, it's all about the end-to-end life cycle from development to retirement, from idea perception to retirement. So we start looking at constraint, where is the delays? And then after that, we start reducing the impact by automation or process change, because sometimes, for example, this delay because this process is not effective. So we try to improve that by changing this process, or maybe if it is repetitive, then we automate that. And after that, we improve that. We start to monitor if this improvement is okay. It just need another improvement. We usually using hypothesis-driven development and hypothesis-driven applying. It's not only development, but only for it's as well for discovering the best potential places to improve and enhance the process. And then after that, repeat. So it's all about continuously, improving as a Kaizen, for example. Okay. So increasing productivity and reliability. Once we start identifying that this is the process that we need to automate, this is the change in the process and so on. So we start getting some other data, which is, for example, if this is a repetitive task, either it's manual or automated, because the manual, we need to automate it. And the automated, we start measuring the reliability. Sometimes people think the automation is the end of the story, but this is not true. Usually the automation is the start of the story, because once you have an automation, you would like to understand if this is really effective, the reliability of the execution, if this executed 100 times. So what is the percentage of the successful factor, for example, compared to the field? So we start looking at that. We start looking at the duration of the automation. This is part of also of sometimes the automation. Yes, you automate everything, but in the end, the automation took very long time. This is why we start thinking about maybe parallel automation. Divide and conquer for this automation, or how to do that. So we start also looking for the waiting time. Why there is a waiting time between transition from this process to this process, or how we can do that. And again, you can even think about, maybe for human approval or whatever, and we can even think about some automation for that as well. And eventually, or in the end, we start thinking about reliability of execution, as I mentioned. Again, it is not only that you automate everything, then this is the end, but also you start thinking about if this is automation is really reliable, can I rely on that? Reliability here for fail, and also maybe it succeed, but it doesn't give us the expected result. So it is not only it is like true or false or passed or failed, but also if it is giving me the expected result as I'm expecting. So reliability is more beyond just execution. Okay, I think let's start again. This is just an high overview about what we are going to see, but we will start by see the demo. Okay, so our first demo, let me give you a quick overview about each demo, and then I will walk you through the story of each demo so you can get understanding of that, and then we will go for the demo. So the first demo, we're talking about effective development with PowerShell and the Markdown in Azure DevOps. In this demo, we will see how we can generate PowerShell script and which can generate Markdown files for our user profile, for our use case that we spoke about, and then integrate that in the Azure DevOps and the Azure repos. Okay, let's start by see this demo. Okay, so first, as you can see, this is my Azure DevOps, where we have all our community members. The community members here for our community. Of course, I will not display sensitive data. So what you are going to see is just, you can think this is a sample data. So usually we have the user profile for each one of our community member in the mentor program. As we can see, for example, we have here all the information, like this include different users as well, as you can see. This is another sample user. So as you can see, we divided the information into 4 sections. Personal information, this is like, the contact number, your name, your AKE, or also knowing as, and professional info, where this will be your education, your role, your experience, and so on. And then the social media, where this including LinkedIn profile, Facebook, Instagram, and so on. And the platform account, this is where we are managing our members on several platforms like GitHub, like learning platform, like also Discord, so we can understand like each account. So this is how we can see that. Okay, and of course, when we started creating this profile for all our members in the community, we're starting that from the beginning. So we start creating this Markdown. We start, if you work with Markdown, you can see that it's very useful. It's very powerful. But again, we start like say, okay, I need the full name. Let me copy that. Let's write that, file and so on. So we're spending really like a very long time creating this profile for all our members. But we start thinking again, we would like to, improving that, how we can, using and speeding up, this part of creating profile for future members and also for improving our productivity and, reliability. So now we start thinking about using the AI. We use here ChatGPT 4, and we'll use Copilot as well, GitHub Copilot. And I will show you the difference between them, why I choose one over the other, and what is the reason, and so on. We can discuss that as well. So as you can see, I will take this Markdown and I will start here asking ChatGPT to start creating, a PowerShell script for me that generate the following Markdown file. I just paste here the source of the markdown for one of my file. So as we can see, the ChatGPT start creating a PowerShell script that can help me to, generate the exactly output from this markdown. And of course, it's also give me breakdown of the script, and so I can understand, in a nutshell, how this script is organized. Okay, so that's fine. Now I have a PowerShell script that create, but this is not what I wanted, because I would like, again, if this is like a hard-coded value. So what I'm going to do here is just to make all values as a variables, because if this is hard-coded, I need to pass a parameters. So now I will take the value, instead of just hard-coded in the PowerShell script, to be, a variables, so I can process a parameter. So this is what I will start by promoting my script to be using variables for all values. So we can see now it will start taking each value of the field of this markdown and start creating them as a variables in the beginning of the PowerShell script, and replace all the value with variable. So now, as we can see, I now have all my script with variables instead of just hard-coded in the file. So now it's just giving me instruction to run the script, but I don't need it. Actually, I would just need, now I have the variables, but this is not what I want, because I would like to have reading these values from a database or from a CSV file, comma separated values, or so I will ask to just add additional capability of my PowerShell script, including reading this value from a CSV file. So what you can see now, it start extracting these variables and creating a CSV file, and then creating a PowerShell script that reading from the CSV file, and then creating or generating the markdown files. So it just start generating the rest of the PowerShell, which is exactly as I need. And of course, here how to use the CSV, how to import the CSV. And now I'm just saying like, okay, now make it to create, it just here to multi-user, because in the end, I'm not going to create one markdown file. I'm going to create 100 or maybe 1,000 of user profile for each one of our community. This is why it's based on creating multi-file, so it will be file by each user. This is why in the CSV, each record will represent a member of our community in the mentor program, and I'm going to adjust my script to create file or user profile markdown per each member of our community. So now, okay, make it to create multiple files for multi-user. So now this will start modify the PowerShell script. As we can see, this will create, of course, start getting the value. This is the CSV file. Of course, still the CSV is just one value, but I will show you what we are going to do. And now we start updating the PowerShell script to make a loop. This is for each. Start looping over the variables, the array or the hash table. I have it here, and start iterating to create multiple files for the markdown. So now it's complete. Okay, and now I will going to adjust to change the image path to incremental number. This is just to simplify how I'm going to link the images to the profile. So here it just put the images as an index number, starting with number 1. So all images will, the first image will be 1, the second image will be 2, 3, and so on. So this make much easier for naming the images. And again, this is only for the demo, but in reality, it's more complex than that. But again, to keep our demo simple, so we don't need to confuse you. Okay, so as you can see, this is now generated. I have now changed the image file, which including image number, which make it much easier for including that in my Markdown file. Okay, so now I'm going to say, okay, adjust my script so it change the file name structure, because we have name convention in our community. For example, we start by the subscription ID of each member of our community and the AKA, or also knowing as. So I would like that each file name in the Markdown, including the subscription ID and the name of the member, or the AKA, also known as. This is why it's not just naming the file, because I can recognize the profile very quickly based on the file. Also, it will impact the ordering of the user profile based on the subscription, number. So this is changing the way how it saves the file name for the user profile and the Markdown. Just to continue. Okay, I copy my PowerShell script now, and let's navigate here to a place. I'm just receiving because I can't see anyone here. Okay. So now this is a CSV file. I will just save the PowerShell here to CSV to Markdown PowerShell or PS1. This is the extension for PowerShell file. Now I save the file, so I don't need the text file anymore. And then here I will open the VS Code. I'll just open my PowerShell script with the VS Code. So now we can see this is the PowerShell, and here this is the path of reading the CSV file, which including all the data of my members in the community. And just again, quick review about the script here in the VS Code to make sure everything is fine. Double check to understand that it is as expected, no change needed. Here we can see the file name, which including, for example, here, the subscription ID and the AKA. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is to just create a CSV file, which will include the data. We created the PowerShell that read from the CSV, okay, but we don't have a CSV file that including the data. So what I'm going to do is create a structure of a CSV file that including this data. And it will again read from the values of the variables. So I will just give the old Markdown files an existing file so ChatGPT here can understand the structure of these files and use it. So for example, this is the old files. So I will just select all of them. And then start here. We can see that it started creating a CSV file based on this data. Of course, I'm not going to use this data. I'm just here to create the schema of the CSV, as I will show you. So now it's just taking some times, and now it starts creating. And of course, it gave me here even a download members for the CSV file. So now I have the CSV file, which including all the data. I'm not going to use it. It's just here for me, the structure of the data to make sure what is exactly how it's look like. And we can see here social links. Again, this is all fake data. It's not a real data, of course. We don't share privacy here. Okay, so now I will navigate to a local repo. And this is the place I will copy this address, because this will be the place where I will have the CSV file. So I just edit my PowerShell script to point to this local repo, which is will include the CSV file. And here's a place where I will have the images and the user profile that will be generated. So I will copy this as well to put it here. And now, on the other side, I started creating Office 365 form registration. And this form registration is matching the same structure of the CSV file. So, and this is the main idea. I created a CSV file with the same structure and just created a form which is represent the same fields. And now everyone here can start registering in this form. Here we take the name, the gender, the phone number, the country, the education. Here is where to upload picture as well. And here, as this is a sample data, we filled this data, so it will be easy for you. And then again, our members will just submit their data. And again, if we have hundreds of users or maybe thousands, we will just download this file. Now I have here just one record, of course, but it will be the same. I will just save this file. And now I can use this file, to generate the Markdown file. So again, just imagine that I have here hundreds of members of our community, and then we can generate this Markdown file for everyone. Okay, so now I will navigate here and just open the PowerShell from here. And then this is the place that I'm going to generate the user profile. So as you can see, what it's just going to do, just to imagine, of course, that this form is filled with hundreds of our members. And then we will run the PowerShell that extracts the data from the CSV file and start creating the Markdown files. Of course, we're using the CSV that we generated because So now once I run the PowerShell script, it will start reading the data from the CSV and start creating the user profile. If we open that with the VS Code as well, we can see that I have here, we can see the Arabic not rendered correctly. So I just need to make some changes regarding to the Unicode of the PowerShell here. So for example, as you can see, the Arabic is not rendered correctly when we're creating that. So in order to fix that, I need just to put here encoding in my PowerShell script with using UTF-8, the same when saving the file. So by reading and saving, so it will just including the Arabic characters and reading and saving the files. Okay, so, and also here, I don't need that in this way. This is the subscription ID and the AKA, also knowing as. So I will just replace this part here and just put it. So as you can see, you need it also to adjust and make sure to validate everything is working as expected. In the end, it is not responsible. You are the one that's responsible. So I will delete all this user profile, and let's start creating them again by run the PowerShell script. So running the PowerShell script now, it generates all the user profile. As we can see now, the Arabic is sorted. And I can see here the preview of the Markdown, the personal info, the social and platform accounts. It seems working great. Of course, I don't have the images, but let's do that. So here I will just first start creating a sample image. This is just for the demo with a headshot, so we can use this image. This will just generating some image that I can use in our demo. Of course, in reality, the user is uploading their image and we just download it as a part of the PowerShell script. So this generating the image, I will just taking this image and start saving them in my location where it has my markdown file. Of course, I naming it, as you can see, I rename the page, the images with the same convention I used. So now save all the images. Okay. So now I have the images, I have the user profile. So let's open Git bash from here, and I'm going to push. Of course, when I get status, I have all these images and the markdown is not staged. So I will stage the file and then commit it to the local repo. So now I have committed. Let's navigate to another repository, another wiki, which is empty. This is the one demo data AI. So if I look at the wiki, it's empty. There is no any user profile. So now, as I created this user profile, if I navigate to the source repo of this wiki, I don't have anything. So what I'm going is to just get push, so I can push from the local repo to the remote repo, which including all the markdown, all the images, everything. And this is to just push. If I refresh now, we can see now I have managed to push and create all the user profile that I have. So I have all the user profile. Of course, this is, as I mentioned, it's a fake data, but usually this is the same concept in our mentor program, including all the data of all users. And of course, if I navigate to the repo, refresh, I can see the source of the repo, including all the markdown, all the images. Of course, I can click here to see the files on the Azure repo. Now I used ChatGPT 4. Now I'm going to use GitHub Copilot. Again, it is the same idea, but of course, GitHub Copilot is a chat inside the context of the VS Code or the Visual Studio. So now I open the GitHub Copilot. Of course, GitHub Copilot can found be here. Of course, you need to install it. It's not free. Of course, you just has trial version, but you needed to have a subscription for that. So as you can see, I will show you part of the demo with using the Copilot. So here I'm use the same, just to create a PowerShell script, generate the following markdown. So I just give the same scenario, but using GitHub Copilot. So I'm not going to do the same scenario. Just show you here the difference between them, between using ChatGPT 4 and GitHub Copilot and the difference between them. Okay, so now again, read the values from the CSV file, starting instead of reading that from the file, start reading from CSV. And then make to create multiple files. I start creating, okay, I need multiple files. So to start creating that. And then the image path, as I mentioned. So it's the same steps, the same scenarios. And of course, the good part about the Copilot, I don't need to jump between the ChatGPT and the code because it will be in the same context of the IDE or the integrated development environment. So I can just, taking this code immediately, as you will see. So here I just change the name file to be the subscription ID and the AKA, or also knowing as, the same as I did with the ChatGPT version part of the demo. And of course, if I would like to take anything again, I will just select it and okay, I will just click it here. So this will copy the chat output to the context of the file. Also, I can use inline GitHub Copilot if I would like, for example, to push that and so on. Okay, this was, let me back to our slide. Okay, the second demo, we will talk about effective development with database and SQL, how we can develop our tasks, the regular tasks with our database in SQL database, and also how to use business intelligence reports and insights from this data. But first, is anyone has any questions? I can see people asking about what do you prefer about Copilot or ChatGPT. Okay, actually, what I found that ChatGPT is more comprehensive for generating, more precisely and more intuitive than GitHub Copilot. I think GitHub Copilot based on ChatGPT 3.5. I'm not sure, but I found that in the end, I do believe working with what is available and try to use to get the best. I usually say it's very important to be driven by the result, not by the tool, but it's just like what it works for you better, then you will choose and employ that. And sometimes we can use a combination of both of them. Okay, so let's start the second demo where we are going to see that. Okay, so as I mentioned, in our community, the mentor program, we design a database to include all the action and interactions, the activities in the mentor. Like, for example, as we can see, we have tables to store the data of our mentors. We divided our community into groups. So what is the group name? And also we keep everything, the history of all the information. So if someone would like to change his name or AKA, we keep history of everything. The work experience, the country of residence, and here also the learning history of each one, and his participation in the QA, and is he new joiner to our community or past joiners. When people joining the community for the first 3 months, we consider them as a new joiners. So we keep all the data of our database, and then we develop, of course, this is the schema and the tables of our database, and we develop some stored procedures where we can programmatically start adding data and getting data from that. And here I'm going to take one of our stored procedure about getting some statistics about our mentor program. So as we can see, this store the procedure run to get all the members and all the data. So we can see, for example, we have, and this is actual numbers, we have in our mentor program, we have more than we have 118 members. This 118 is divided to 107 mentors and 11 not mentors, because some people is not just mentors, they join our community to just get training or session, but they are not part of the mentor. By being part of the mentor, it means that you have a group, you have a mentorship, and this is another story. And we can see here, so the mentor is 107. The 107, we have new joiner. This means that the rest of them is a past joiners. And this new joiner is 31 in courses, is not in courses, who is in which course. So the past joiner, for example, as we can see here, the new joiner is 31, the past joiner is 77. How many one in course, how many one not in course for the past joiner, but for the new joiner, how many in course, how many non in course. So we have not mentor, the mentors and the leads. So as you can see, we have here, this is the statistics that we get all the numbers around our mentor program. Okay, we hear also who is Discord, who is in Discord, who is in learning platform or in GitHub, who is not in GitHub, and his participation. We track everything on our platforms and on our community. And here, this is the stored procedure that we are using to get all this value. Again, we developed this stored procedure. We didn't use, AI or doing that. And this is why, but we continue with using that. In the beginning, we didn't use it because this is, of course, it was from a long time. But again, so what I'm going to do here, as you can see, this, for example, the members, the mentors, the not mentor. So I'm going now to start using an AI to start, helping me to create this stored procedures. So I will start breaking down the stored procedure into some sections so I can, get the best result. So in order to do that, so what I'm going to do is I will select the table that is responsible for this part, the first part. So here I will just say, okay, let me get this table and I will just save it as a text file, user status table. Once I have this table, I now go to ChatGPT and start use the attached file to create a stored procedures, calculating the following total values. So here, I'm just giving that schema of this table. I would like to have this format. So I'm going here to give the format I would like to expect. So here, I just need these numbers. So here, I put it here, okay. Use condition aggregation directly with select statement, okay, and just attach it the schema of this table. So we can see that now it started going to, this is using the mentor DB, this is a production database, and then start creating the stored procedure. Okay, so now if I run a new query, and now in this new query, this is the stored procedure. So as we can see, this is the current stored procedure. So this query will create a new query. So I will just name the query so you can recognize it very easily. I will name it with user stored procedure user retrieve total AI. So we can recognize that stored procedure quickly. And then I will execute my SQL statement. Now I have this stored procedure. So if I now execute the stored procedure, we can see I get the same numbers and my stored procedure was correctly give me the expected result. Okay, so now I'm going to expand my story procedure to create more. So now I finished the first part about the member, the mentor, and who is not mentor. And now I'm going to take another part, which is the leads. So here I will just adjust it to add the following leads. So as you can see, this will increment my stored procedure to including the leads as well. And then I would like also to take another part, which is the platform, like who is in Discord, in GitHub, in QA, and all of that information. So here I'm going to adjust to add the following separate select statement. So now it start adding that as a part of my stored procedure, creating here. This is the mentor, this is the member, who is in Discord, who in the QA, who is in GitHub. Who is in learning platform or not. Okay, so as you can see, I have now multiple, select statement, which including that. Okay, so I'm going to modify this script, include the second part. And of course, I will remove the end here. Let's execute. Execute here, as you can see, it usually drop the stored procedure and recreate it. So now I have the stored procedure recreated. So if I execute now, I can see now I managed to get the leads and also how many people on this is the leads, which is the same number here in the Discord, how many one in Discord are members. And in the learning platform, not in the learning. All the number is correct, which is exactly as I expect. Okay. So now let's now move to another part. As you can see, after we created this data, now we would like, as you can see, just looking at the data, it is not visualizing these numbers. So we build some PI or dashboard with Excel and using PowerPoint. So we also thought about, okay, we would like to implement or increasing the productivity of how we're creating that as well. So this is what we had before, which including all numbers for all the numbers that you saw in the total. So now what I'm going to do is using AI to create this charts for me. So in order to do that, I will just take the output of this and start navigating here. Okay, let's visualize this data for me by creating, I can of course here mention like if I needed a donut chart or a column chart or whatever you would like, and then just giving the input that. So we can see that it start here listing like this is a mentorship distribution, the scores, the new joiners, the old joiners, and who is on the platform and which one. Here is the total numbers. So start creating each group of numbers, who is in the course, who is not, who is in the master course, who is in the DevOps fundamental course, taking all this data. So as we can see, and now start generating the charts. So it just divided them and then making comparisons between all the numbers and start generating the charts. So as we can see now, it generates all the charts to represent the data. Okay, looks good, but in the end, this is an image. Of course, I can save this image, I can use it. But again, I would prefer an actual data. So here I will just start to compile the data corresponding donut charts into an Excel file. So it will just transforming all this data into an Excel with a charts, and if gives me here the file to download. I start here downloading the file. This is a new file, as we can see. So it just created exactly as our old files that we created manually. Okay, so now I can, of course, I can generate PowerPoint as well, but in some cases I would like to have some style. So here I will just create some PowerPoint slide where I have the platform statistics, for example, start to bring the chart. Again, this is not an image, it's a chart with the data. So I can adjust the colors, you know, and this is the good part of not using an image, because this is an actual data. Of course, I can change the chart color, maybe using border. Changing in the way that I would like to display that in a presentation for our members. For example, how we growing in our community member and the engagement of our members. Yes, as you can see, I can start displaying all the, here's the GitHub participation, the QA participation. As I mentioned, we track everything, track everyone. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Any questions? Mm, uh, Nihal, or let me say, okay, I can see any question. Okay, let's move to the next demo. Okay, so the third demo, we will talk about effective release pipeline with YAML and Azure DevOps. Again, all my demos require that you're already a developer, you're already a DevOps, you already, because again, I'm not going here to explain development or what is YAML or what is, for example, inner join or outer join or the stored procedures or the markdown or the wiki and the repo or all of that. I'm here is to how I'm using that to effectively increasing my productivity in my day-to-day work. So this demo, we will focus on, effectively developing a pipeline with Azure DevOps. So we will see that. So here we will create first a YAML file that creating a package application, web application, and compiling the application, creating the package, and then we're creating a Terraform for infrastructure as code, and then deploying this application. And everything will be automated, everything will be with AI. Okay, let's see the demo. This demo will including 3 parts. So I will start by the first part. So the first part here, I'm going to first start by the YAML file. So here, this is the Azure demo AI. So let me first show you here my web application. I have here a web application, which including, this is a web application parse unlimited. This is just to give you an idea, MVC controller. This is my configuration file for my web application. And here is the version of the .NET framework, 4.5.1. Okay, So let's navigate here to the pipeline. So I will just create a pipeline. Of course, there's template here, but I need more complex template. So this is why I will use a new one that I will generate it from ChatGPT. So here, as you can see, I will say, start create a YAML file to build and publish. And here is very important because I'm going to build an application and publish the artifacts to the drop location. For a .NET here, I'm specifying the version exactly as specified in the configuration file of the web application. So this will start creating a YAML file with the main stage for building the application. Of course, as we can see, the target framework is 4.51. And here it generate also some unit testing task, which is I don't need it. And here it's also give me some guidelines for this YAML file and also some customization note. For example, if I would like to send some MS build arguments, I can send that. Okay, so just to review that information. Okay, that's fine. So I will just copy this YAML file, navigate to my YAML on Azure DevOps, and start replacing that with the file generated. And then here, just review the build parameters. Just make sure. Actually, I don't need the test. Of course, I can mention that in the prompt, but it's much easier to even edit that now. Here, this is a source folder, so I will just edit the regular expression. Actually, it is not the build artifact. I would like here the source. So I will just change this to be the source directory. And here, I need another, the regular expression here to include all the JSON file in this content. Again, you just, validate and make sure everything as expected. Okay. And now here, I will just adding a copy task. So this will be publish the artifacts. So I change the image to Windows 2019. Yes, just double check. Everything is fine. It looks fine for me. Okay, let's run the pipeline now. So as we can see now, we run the Azure pipeline. So it start downloading the source code for my web application, restoring all the NuGet package, the third-party libraries. Once the libraries are restored, start building the application itself. And then start creating here the package, start copying and publish the package. Okay. So if I navigate here, double check that my package is created. I can search here to make sure for the zip file. Yes, I can have the parse unlimited.zip, which is the web package for my application that we will deploy this application. So you can see that worked on the cloud. And now this is the drop location where it's published this artifact. So if I navigate here to the pipeline and look at the artifact, I can see that I have one published artifacts. Okay, this is the second part of the demo where I will just use the Terraform. So as you can see now, I have my web application published. So I will use here a Terraform. This is just to generate a Terraform. This is the Terraform here to just create the following resources: resource group, service plan, Windows web app, MS SQL Server and firewall rule. So I just specified all the resources and the configuration that I would like to have it in my infrastructure as code, which is the Terraform in that case. So I put everything, even the framework with the version. And also I mentioned that I need the connection string in the web app, so everything. So now it starts creating the Terraform. Of course, here the Terraform provider defines the resource group. So as you can see, it's breaking down into sections based on the component that I would like to create it on the Azure, on the cloud. Here to create the SQL Server, even give me username, a password, and here's the firewall rule, also to open the firewall so the web application can communicate with the SQL database. And here to the SQL database after the SQL Server. Of course, just to continue generation, it just to give me also some consideration about, for example, here, of course, divided that into sections. I just here mention, instead of having multiple Terraform file, is to group all this output into one Terraform file. So as you can see, it will just, of course, I can download each one or copy each one, but it will be even much easier to take all this file and merging them into one file. And with some, as I mentioned, some instruction notes like security, for example, I'm not using secret, the firewall. So this is some consideration, which is even amazing to take consideration about that. Okay, so now I have this Terraform file. I can copy that and start here navigating to my infrastructure, creating a new infrastructure file, and just to paste the Terraform. And then here I will just changing, editing. For example, what I would like to name the resource group. Here I will just name it Web App Terraform RG resource group. This is my service plan. So again, here, the edit that I'm going to use to change the values that I don't like. This is the SQL Server. And here, of course, this is the name of the database. So I said DevOps course, QA. And here also for the connection string. So as we can see, this is just using the username and password as a variables. So here I will just, this is the firewall. Okay, that's fine. Again, it's a security practice. No one will put the username and password inside the markdown file. Of course, we're using secret management, and again, but this is to simplify that. So now I commit the code. Okay, let's now just run, go to the YAML pipeline. So again, I can even start to generate AI with creating a YAML, extending a YAML. But again, what I just need is to creating a package of the Terraform file. So here I will just specify the place and add a copy file, which will copy the Terraform file to package management and just run the pipeline. So as you can see, this will rerun the application. So the first run, it is restores the NuGet package, creating the web application. And this time also, it will create the package of the infrastructure as well, which is the Terraform. So now I have two packages, the web application and the infrastructure package that will be responsible for provisioning the environment on the cloud. Okay, so now this build, creating the application, I have two packages. Let's check for the packages now. So if I manage to go to the package, I can see I have the Terraform and I have the web package. So now my CI is complete ready. What I'm going to just have a CD that create the infrastructure and deploying the web application to the cloud. Okay, so let me show you this part. Any questions so far? Okay, the third part of this demo is to start deploying the application. So what I'm going to do now is just here creating this stage. And this stage will just take the pipeline. You specify which pipeline that store the package pipeline. And then here, just to put the tasks. Here is for Terraform initialize. This is a service connection to the Azure cloud. And this is for deploying the web app. This is just to explain to you the deployment actually. It's just nothing to just create, taking the web package and the Terraform package. The first package is the Terraform. So this will provision the infrastructure. And the second package, which is the web application, will deploy the application to the cloud. So I just enable the CI. So as we can see, if I navigate to the Azure cloud, this is the name of the application that I created. This is just to double check. And here, so we can see our application before we deployment. And I just make small change. This is the Terraform, the change I did with the repo. So we can see here now, the CD will run. So the QA here, this is the stage. The stage here will just pick up the Terraform file, start provision the environment on the cloud. So if I navigate to the Azure cloud, we can refresh. I don't have still any user group, resource group, sorry. So we can see here the log file for the Terraform. If I refresh, now I have the web app Terraform. So now I have the web app and the service plan created. Now this is a firewall of the SQL. So if I go now for the SQL and open the network, I can see that the firewall is allowed. So the web app can communicate with the SQL. Still applying. Now the Terraform, all the provision environment completed. And now we're moving to extract the web application and deploying the web application. Now it's complete. If I now open the web application, I can see this is the configuration file, and I can see my web application deployed correctly, and it's working fine. Can navigate to the products, and it seems everything is working fine. Okay, so this was the third demo. Let's move to another demo. So now we're talking about effective team collaboration and meetings with Microsoft Teams. So now we are going to use how we effectively manage our taking notes and like meeting minutes and action items, all this kind of actions that we usually do. Okay. So as you can see in this meeting called Try Copilot meeting, actually, the name of the meeting is Try to Copilot. And the main reason of this meeting is to actually see the capabilities of the Copilot. So we wanted to configure Copilot with Office 365 and, doing that. And we had some issue with Office 365 Copilot. So I did that with ChatGPT as well. I'm still in the process of fixing the Office 365 Copilot. But again, it's even, I mean, it will give the same capabilities. But anyway, so I went to my meetings that I would like to and start downloading the transcript of the meeting. And now I have, again, this demo is a real demo, a real use case. So now I have this meeting with my colleague, Rahab. And so this is a conversation of the meeting. We would like to get the action of this meeting. So here I'm just saying, okay, creating an action items from the following meetings. So as we can see, this will just give like action items for Mohamed Radwan. Just to start listing, okay, Mohamed should share the screen and demonstrate to work with Copilot on Microsoft Teams, investigate and fix the issue of missing Copilot because we have this issue, and start ensuring all Teams members have proper access and understanding. Rahab will confirm visibility of functionality and as a IT team support and all team members. So as you can see here, I can see what are the action item for each member and what is the IT support and as all members as well. And now let's say, okay, creating a meeting minutes as a table. Okay, I would prefer to have a table with like uh, which time and the speaker, the topic and the discussion point, what is the action item to be going to do. So as we can see now, it's starting creating, the action items for from our meetings as a minutes. And I start here. Okay, now it's give me everyone who is the one that responsible for that, the initiator. Okay, now I say, okay, give me the deadline and the responsible person columns in the table. So it will just start adding, okay, what is the deadline for each action items? This, for example, during the meeting, this is 2 weeks, this is 1 week, this is 3 days. This is ongoing, and of course, also the responsible person for that part. Okay, create a summary of the meeting in 10 points. So this is just to give me a high-level summary. Okay. As you can see, introduction to Copilot. Mohamed Radwan opened the meeting by discussing the use of the Copilot feature in Microsoft Teams, emphasize the potential benefits, screen sharing, user interface feedback, visit and follow up, and profile and personal settings, action items and responsibilities, recording consent and documentation for our mentor members, and support ticket also for our mentor members. Write an email to Rahab to follow up on her tasks. Just taking an item from that, okay, just tell me the Rahab tasks so I can, send her, this is the action you need to do. So as we can see, I have now the email with all the items. I can start even looking at some of the action item to let them help me. For example, one of the action item here is it was an instruction for the Copilot. So here, okay, I wanted to create an instruction for Copilot for our members. So here, I will just creating these instructions. And I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me, right? Okay. Okay. So here, searching for Copilot, adding Copilot. Yeah. So as you can see, this is, I use one of the action items, which is created a guide for the Copilot for our mentor members. So here I can use it even for generating this guide. And now this is for troubleshooting. Also, I can use, okay, just create this guide as a document with supporting image. Actually, it will fail to create images, which is I'm expecting, but it just sometimes. So here, this will generate a Word document, so I can attach it, for example, and send it to the people here, for example. Okay, so let's now to move to the demo, the fifth demo, or the demo before the last one. So here in this demo, we are going to see how we're using AI as well to help us for our education. For example, when we have a session regarding some important session, or we would like to understand how we, how our members of the mentor is understanding the session. So we would like to get like making quiz and to understand if they are really receiving the information or not. So we were working on developing the quiz and all the cycle of the quiz using AI. So I'm going to show you that. Okay. So now this is a session for me. We have a guest speaker and we start including some, a conversation, and we will start getting to transform this session into a quiz. So what I'm going to do is to start copy the transcript. I will just paste it here in VS Code. And I will go for ChatGPT to start create MCQ from the following. So as you can see, this will took the conversation and the explanation of this session and start transforming that into MCQ or multiple questions, choice questions. And here even identify the correct answer. I say, okay, write more question, please. So it start adding more questions based on the explanation of the session. Okay, make the question select all applies because it was only one answer is correct. So I wanted to make more complex. So I just ask it to make all apply. So it will be more tricky. So yes, I just created. Okay, let's create an answer sheet for the previous questions. If I would like to have an answer sheet, for example, for that, so it just give me what are the answers for each questions. Okay, let's do another thing here. Okay, now I have the questions, I have the answer sheet, but how we can, start question the people, how we can quiz them. So now I'm going to take this quiz and building this quiz as well with AI. So as you can see here, let's say, okay, to just simplify that, I will just create this conversation, creating a question from 5 questions only. So here, again, this will just creating 5 questions. Just rename here to be a quiz. And now I will just create a text file from the previous questions, excluding the answer, because of course I will using this file to generate the quiz on Office 365, and of course I don't need the answer. So I will extract the question only without the answer. So as you can see now, I have the MCQ file. If I open that, okay, UTF-8, I don't include, doesn't include Arabic, but anyway, so this is the questions. So I will just save my files. I will just create here Q5 and will save my file as a Word document. And now I will navigate to Office 365, click Quick Import. And here I will just import the file. As you can see, I have two options, form or quiz. So I will select the quiz. So this will import the Word document into the Office 365 to make it a quiz. So now, as you can see here, I have built a quiz. And now I will just need to collect the response from our members. So here I will just say, okay, I just need to copy this link and start. So as you can see, this is how it's appear. Of course, I should, adjust the title, all this kind, but just here for simplifying that. Okay, so people, our mentor member will start answering the questions, start, okay. Of course, here to show you, I don't have anyone to help me with the demo, so I will just submit multiple answers. I will use, again, to show you how I'm going to correct the answers. So here I will just submit 7 answers. And now I have 7 answers. This is just now I will just go again and start. Of course, I have the charts here with the answer, but again, I don't know which answer is correct, who is correct, what wrong and false, and even taking or doing that, this will take a very long time. So what I'm going to do also is I'm just downloading the result here. And this is the result. Of course, it's all Mohamed Radwan because I'm the person that answer all the question. I will replace this with other names. Of course, manually, Saif, Lara, Rania, Nadia, Naja, Shireen. And this is just the extension of the file to be CSV. And then here, what I'm going to do is just say, okay, calculate the score of all people in the attached file. And I will attach the CSV file that I just saved. So this will extracting the data and based on the quiz and understanding the correct result, and start give me the score of each participant. So here I can say, okay, this is display all people. It doesn't display Naja and Shireen actually. So I just say, okay, please display all people. So here it will display Naja and Shireen as well. Okay, now I have, but again, this is a table. I would like to have a chart with this. So create a column chart for the score. So this is creating a column chart for the score for all the participants in this quiz. Make a donut chart, for example. So this will create a donut chart for that quiz. What is the question here, for example, that all people answer it correct? So it'll just tell me that there is no question answer. Everyone answer it correctly. And also maybe asking, okay, what is the question that all people answer wrong? And of course, just give me all the questions that people answer wrongly. I can get some information and so on. Okay, let's go move to the last demo. Okay, so the last demo we will using also the same is for effective training. And in this part, we are using it to track the attending the session and the participation of our member in the mentor program, how they participate in the sessions. And to do that, let me show you. So as you can see, I'm going to create all the meetings that our mentor member attend. This is one of the session, which is called the mentor meetup. I start downloading the attendees report, soft skills. This is another session about communication skills and negotiation skills. Start downloading the attendees report and so on. So we start downloading all the reports for the attendees and start building statistics and insights about that. So what I'm going to do here is just, again, start calculating how many hours people attending and start attaching combine the attendees report into one file and start analyzing that so I can understand, the participation of each one. So we can see that it's give me, like analyzing the data with each member of our community, how many hours he spent. It's not only in one session, but it's all sessions. So it's like grouping the statistics. I need the total percentage for each attendees. So I can see here the percentage of the attendees in each meeting. So, okay, create a chart. So for the previous attendees, I can see, okay, who is the people that attending, and I can see the participation. Yes, that's it. Now let's move to the question then, and thank you. So any questions? Unfortunately, it's not, I can't hear you. This is one of, I would prefer to hear people, but that's fine. So any question? So I just say, I'm trying to look at the question part here. Okay. But if you were to hire an entry-level data analyst, what would you search for? Okay, so now Omar asking if I'm hiring an entry-level data analyst. For people as an entry level, the most important is behavior and soft skills, your reputation. And usually for me, for example, I would definitely need a recommendation from your doctor, from two doctors or two-person, and. So yes, it's entry level especially is very difficult because usually people is not developing their mindset so yes, it's very I will be very careful about that, but yes, that's usually is the case. My question, could you outside the top, this is Sanaa. It's amazing, thank you. Okay, do you first design flow work and the steps and that make AI perform regular tasks? Okay, Abdullah Nomer. Okay, let me first thinking about automation. For me is when you think about automation, you should think about the repetitive. So you don't start with AI, you end with AI. So it's like reverse engineering. You start first doing something and you would like to improve it. There is a concept of hypothesis-driven development or test-driven development or behavior-driven development. So it's all about make it first correct and then improve. So it's just a mindset how you would like to get driven by business first and your productivity and reliability. I'm transitioning from 15 years career to data analyst, and I hope I make it. Thank you. Hello, Sana. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, if there is no question, it means that's it. Okay, thank you, everyone. I wish you enjoyed the session and you found it useful. And again, you can reach out. I'm on GitHub. You can see my videos, and if you need anything, you can just follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn. Thank you, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Mohammed. It was very interesting. And thank you, everyone, for attending the tutorial. We will have a shorter break now and see you back at 4:45.
See how to close.